Hello, this is Annalisa from Faith Dream Create, and welcome back to my channel. You are watching my Christmas card series for 2024. I will be using this stamp set from Tim Holtz. It is called Department Store, and I will be using the Wreath from the set. I'm going to be stamping it with my stamping platform. I'm going to be using some Distress Oxide inks, Pine Needle in particular, to go with the wreath and give me that background color for some watercoloring that I'm going to be doing. But after this is stamped, I'm going to be using some clear embossing powder, and then once that is heat set, it will give me a good area to watercolor in. It creates a raised well and keeps your watercoloring from bleeding into each other, and it just really makes it look great with the shininess of the embossing powder as well. So here I'm adding the clear embossing powder, and I'll have all of the supplies that I can linked down below in the description box if you are ever curious and want to go ahead and check them out. You can go ahead and check out those links down below. So heat setting this, love the effect of this. Then we can move on to the rest of the card. So this card is going to have a lot of experimenting and a lot of what you might call mistakes, but it is really the progress, the experimenting. So I was adding some of the music notes here from the same stamp set. This was the idea I had in my head, but I didn't like it. So you're going to see how I fix this and keep rolling with this card. Sometimes you do need to start over if your idea doesn't work out, but sometimes you can fix it. So as you can see, I'm adding some washi tape over that area, and I really love how this turned out. This card is going to be full of experimenting, trying different techniques, trying different things, and then fixing it. Because I did all that beautiful watercoloring, I didn't want to start again. So stick with me and see how you can fix your experiments or mistakes along the way. Now I'm just using the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils to watercolor this in. I love that I was able to use the Distress Oxide ink as my base, have those details in green, then just come in with a lighter green and some reds and stick to those traditional colors. You could definitely come in here with non-traditional Christmas colors, but I chose to stick with the traditional colors. So just adding in the color, and then I will come back in with the Tim Holtz Fine Detail water brush and then get the watercolor effect going. I love how the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils work. I love how it just flows together, and the watercolor effect on cards is just so beautiful. So let me know down below in the comments when you decorate for Christmas. Do you decorate right after Halloween, or do you wait till after Thanksgiving? I am Canadian. I've probably mentioned this a few times as we get closer to the Christmas card series, and we're here now, but so Thanksgiving is celebrated in October. So I like to decorate right after Halloween, or like mid-November if I don't get around to it right away. But I like to decorate early, enjoy it. I like to decorate a lot and go all out. But yeah, I love decorating for Christmas. So let me know down below in the comments when you decorate for Christmas. When do you put your wreath up and get all of the lights out? The twinkling wreaths and the twinkling lights and the twinkling trees. When do you decorate it all? I love how realistic this wreath looks, and it's only a stamp. It's so crazy. So now I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and this was an experiment too. I really wanted the sentiment to be on the gold, but I didn't think this was actually going to work. But I end up stamping it on the washi tape with some Memento Luxe black ink, and this is a more like permanent ink, but I feel like a stays-on ink would definitely work here. I am not familiar with that, but there's probably an ink that would stick to this washi tape. But for me, it wasn't working, but I decided to come in with my Wink of Stella black sparkle pen and go over this originally. I was just experimenting. I was like, you know what? I want this to work. I love the gold sparkly washi tape. I would love the sentiment to stand out and to pop on this gold washi tape. So this is what I went with. And this is how we learn. Maybe a technique has not been invented, or maybe something will work for you that won't work for someone else, or maybe it will look really good, but you didn't know. So don't be afraid to try new things and experiment with your cards. And if you don't like it, you can change it, or you can start all over again. And just keep on having fun and experimenting and doing what works best for you. So you're going to see that I switched the sentiment up a little bit later. This might have dried, but I was really nervous that it was going to smudge. So I do change it in the end. But while I wait for that to dry and see if it's going to work for me, I'm going to add a finishing touch. I'm going to add some pops of color from scrapbook.com. I'm using a gold sparkle one, and it just really goes with the washi tape. And I love how this turned out. You could definitely leave the background white. I love that fun element of the pops of color and the gold sparkliness of the pops of color. So I'm just adding those in, and then when I have all of them in, I'm going to flick the card to make those dots flatter and just round them out a little bit. When you are squeezing it out, sometimes they're very pointed and you have a tip to it. So by flicking the card very carefully, you get a flatter surface on the dots, and it just rounds them out more. Totally makes them look a whole lot better. It's totally fine if you want to stick with the pointed tips as well. Maybe that is the look you were going for, but this is what works to round them out a little bit more. Then I will fix the sentiment, and then the card will be all done. I love how this turned out. Even though it was a card that just wasn't working out for me, I was experimenting and trying new things, it still turned out really, really nice in the end. So, this wasn't smudging a lot, but I did not want it to smudge. Maybe it gets wet, or maybe someone rubs their hand against it a lot. I didn't know what it was going to do, so I decided to take some craft cardstock, which was similar to the gold. I felt like it went with the gold. So I stamped the same sentiment from the department store stamp set, Merry Christmas, in the fun font, cut that sentiment out from the craft cardstock, and then cut it down. So you're still going to see a little bit of that gold in behind the sentiment, but I was able to match it up and put it right over the original sentiment. Sorry I was off camera there a little bit cutting this out, but you get the idea of what I'm doing as I explain it. So I'm going to use the My Sweet Petunia glue press, and I have Barely Art glue in there. I'm just going to glue this sentiment down, and then I will cut off the edges there. And I really like how this sentiment turned out. I could have left it, but I did not want it to take any chances with smudging. But if I had not done this and done the other part, maybe I wouldn't have got to the ending of this. Sometimes we need to try different things to get the end results. So just adding a few more pops of color and then flicking them to finish off this card, and then I'm going to show you the finished card up close. And then that will finish up the video. Alright, so here's the finished card. I love how it turned out. And that is going to finish up today's video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you join me here. I will be sharing Christmas cards every Saturday or Sunday leading up to Christmas. I have some DIY projects coming your way too, so definitely turn on your notifications so you know when I upload next, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.